Did you see how dark and intense the new Captain America Brave New World trailer looked? The incredibly dour tone, the toned down colors, the tension-filled editing, the intense look in everyone's faces, and even its scratchy violin music that is usually reserved for horror movies. Well, what if I told you that all this is a lie? But Eric, you pinnacle of manliness, you shout at me from across the street, why would you say that? Well, this is not the first time Marvel have released a dark and intense trailer like this. They did it with Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
It isn't what you think.
And we all know how that turned out.
Welcome back to the quantum realm, Scott. Banished me down here.
Wait. Darren?
Surprised to see me?
They did it for the final trailer of the Marvels. And again, we all remember what that movie was like.
Invite her down, put her feet on the ground. Give me a chance here before it gets
So
too
lead the
messy.
wolf.
Sorry, stop. We need to talk.
Okay, let's talk.
Oh wait, he doesn't have to sing? Yeah, he's bilingual.
Then why the fuck did we have to watch that cringy song number? Anyway, this just further proves how they lie about their tone in their trailers. This did not match this, nor did the rest of the movie. Most notoriously, they did it with Avengers Age of Ultron, which looked like a straight up horror movie going by its marketing.
I'm gonna show you something beautiful. Everyone screaming for mercy. You're all puppets tangled in strings. There are no strings on me.
Only for the actual movie
You know, with the benefit of hindsight,
to be one of the most comedic of them all, although sadly, that is no longer true. Regardless, this is the movie that crossed a line for me, and I never trusted the MCU whenever they released a dark trailer from that point on. And it turns out, I was right, because as cool as it would have been with these movies, they just don't have it in them to commit to these dark trailers. Even though audiences like the tones these trailers are presenting them with, Marvel just use it to get you interested, and once you're in the theater and they have your money, it's too late. And I have constantly said on this channel for years that you cannot trust a dark trailer when it comes to Disney Marvel. The last time I said this was for the Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania trailers, and people thought that Marvel actually meant it this time, and well...
Big hole. How many holes do you have? I'm sorry, is that a personal question? I don't have any holes.
They didn't.
My name is Darren, and I am not a dick!
And that's exactly what I think is going on with the latest trailer for Captain America Brave New World. The trailer itself is actually pretty good, and I would actually want to see a movie like this, but based on Marvel's track record of lying with their past trailers, I have no reason but to believe that they're lying here too. And I'll prove it to you. Now, Captain America Brave New World had a test screening about a month or two ago, and someone went onto Reddit and decided to post what they saw on that test screening in a Reddit post, and they went through every aspect of the movie, and they said it was not a very well received test screening. Now, Marvel could always do reshoots and change things later. They've already been doing reshoots at the time of making this video, and they seem to be planning to do more, and this is not new territory for Marvel. If you remember, people actually saw Paul Rudd shooting reshoots for Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, and it turns out those reshoots were for the ending. And he was doing these reshoots 1 month before the movie was going to release. That is how close to the release Marvel do these reshoots, guys. And that's not just a Marvel thing, it's also a Disney thing, because if you remember, The Rise of Skywalker also was having constant reshoots right up to its release date. And that's partly why these budgets are so huge, because the reshoots are so expensive, and they don't necessarily make the movies better. Just look at the Marvels for proof of that, and Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, which apparently used reshoots to make the movie lighter and more joke-heavy.
you serious?
I don't know what to say about that either. Marvel clearly have no clue what they're doing. But bearing all that in mind, they're going to be doing more reshoots for Captain America Brave New World in very much the same way. So these little details I'll tell you from the test screening, they could be subject to change as time goes on, but we'll see when the final movie releases. Anyway, according to the leaked test screening, there were countless revelations that they told us, such as Ross eating ice lollies to make himself calm down when he feels like he is becoming the Hulk. Yeah. Giancarlo Esposito is only in the opening action sequences at the beginning of the film, even though the trailer makes it out like he's the lead villain and plays a bigger part in the overall plot. The scenes where Ross hulks out, it only happens during the movie's climax, and according to the person who saw it, he said the action scene was pretty quick and disappointing. And in this action sequence, Sam fights Red Hulk and gets punched so many times and gets back up like it was nothing, despite him being a human and not having the super soldier serum in him like Steve Rogers. And these are just 4 snippets of the leaked test screening, but with just this little bit of information, you can read between the lines of all this footage and the leak seems plausible. In both trailers, the only clips we get of Ross hulking out is this one scene. We only see Esposito in these very similar locations, and it could mean that they are keeping the rest of his scenes under wraps, or it could mean the test screening leak was right and he only appears in this opening action sequence. Although Esposito did say that he's going to be doing reshoots soon, so maybe they will write him more screen time, I don't know. But ultimately, that's why I don't trust this much darker tone that this trailer is promising. It seems like another marketing ploy to trick audiences into getting excited for a much darker MCU movie, even though the MCU always chicken out when it comes to fully embracing the darkness, even though their trailers never seem to chicken out. And on a side note, I know this poster is trying to reference the comic book cover, but it doesn't make any sense. How can Sam be fending off this punch from a Hulk with the Captain America shield? The shield won't take damage, but Sam will. I mean, he's a human, so one punch from a Hulk will kill him. And he doesn't have the arm strength to deflect a punch with the shields. I mean, his wrist would just snap like a twig. In the comic book illustration, the Captain America doing this is Steve Rogers, who has been injected with a super soldier serum. So this image makes sense in that context, but not in this one. And how are these sparks coming out of the shield after it's being hit by flesh and bone? Again, I get what they're trying to do, but they are doing it at the expense of their own universe's logic. Which, if this is the lack of logic in the poster, then what lack of logic will be in the movie? Because if it is true what is said in the leaked test screening, and Red Hulk repeatedly punches Sam and he survives, that is enough to ruin the movie and show that they can't even maintain basic continuity. In a world that has rules such as super soldiers and humans, there has to be a distinction. You can't have a human survive something that a super soldier can. That will just enforce a complete dismantling of the rules that this universe had set up. Plus, I can almost guarantee that there is going to be even more MCU comedy in this movie than they are letting on in the trailer. Trust me, Disney Marvel just can't help themselves, and they have a knack for doing this. They will lean so heavily into the comedy, but they won't lean so heavily into the darkness. It's like they're terrified to do it or something. In spite of that though, they have no problem pushing the darkness in their trailers. I've asked this before and I'll ask it again. If they know this is the kind of serious tone we want, why don't they actually give it to us? They shouldn't have to lie to us in the marketing. The tones they're trying to sell us on in these trailers should have been the tone they went with as soon as they started filming. Instead, this just looks like another soulless and inferior Winter Soldier knockoff. You know, after all the other ones. Why do they have to make it the same base level PG-13 rating when they can push it and give us something more mature? But no, they'd rather trick us into thinking it's more mature instead of actually making it more mature. Now, I'm not saying this movie is going to be as light as the Marvels or something, but the trailer is giving us the impression that it is going to be so dark and so serious, and that every plot point is so incredibly calculated by this mastermind.
Captain America. You ever ask yourself, who's playing who?
When really, it's just going to be another poorly written and reshot to hell MCU movie. And by the way, if you read the rest of the leaked test screening like I have, then you will be surprised at how much the trailer manipulates you into thinking that there is this big calculated political storyline with Giancarlo Esposito as the ringleader. It's a complete lie, and unless they give him a much bigger role in the story with more reshoots, you are going to be very disappointed. The CGI in many parts also looks terrible, but that's par of the course with these MCU projects lately. They are so expensive yet look so cheap. So only time will tell what these movies are actually like, but all of Marvel's trademarks, their poor planning, their constant rewrites and reshoots to fix a lackluster script and broken movie, all of those bad habits and more are still here. And just think about it. All of these MCU projects had very well edited trailers, but just like how they failed to deliver on the darker tone, I have absolutely zero faith that Captain America Brave New World will live up to it. It's a pattern of behavior with the MCU, and if I am wrong, I will happily admit it when the movie comes out. But as of right now, those are the reasons why I believe that Marvel is lying to you. Now there's one thing I want to ask you guys, but before I do, I write and edit all these videos by myself, so if you want to support my work on this channel, please consider becoming a Patreon donor or a YouTube member. Now what do you guys think? Do you think there is enough evidence at this point that Marvel cannot be trusted when they release intense trailers like this? Or do you think I am exaggerating and should trust that the MCU will fulfill their promises in this trailer? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. With that guys, thanks so much for watching and I'll see all of you next time. Take care.